Shit's right up here.
Tim, congrats. That was an awesome win, big one for you. Just your best case scenario, did you think you could finish it like that?
Man, I did. I actually got told by several of my coaches if we can settle this guy and get through the first round, and I can take him down and put him on his back, that I was going to get a finish in the second. That's actually something that we trained for. I did the same thing in the Sumadarji fight. These good long strikers, I got to keep range. Just got to close the distance and get one or two good takedowns and settle their feet a little bit. And that was the exact game plan, was to get a submission.
It was getting short time there towards the end of the round. Did you feel like he could have was going to make it, or were you pretty sure you were going to get him there?
I was about to bail on the guillotine. The only reason why I didn't let go and go into something else is because my coaches said that he was panicking and that he was going to tap. I didn't want to end up on bottom, so I was going to bail. It wasn't that my arms were getting tired. I just didn't want to get 50-50. So, again, here's my coaches. I was bailing on the guillotine. They said it was there. I stuck with it, and I got the submission.
Can you take us back to weigh-ins a little bit? I know you've said a lot on Twitter, and you've told people you're the guy who's been in the fight game forever, so you have the knowledge. What is your issues or your thoughts here as we stand now post-fight?
I just hate the balance scale. All week we're weighing on digital scales. All week we can know what we weigh. Everybody sees. And then we weigh in before we go get on the digital scale or on the balance scales. And if you make weight, you get to go sit and wait to make the actual weight. But if you don't make weight, you go and run or whatever, and then they bring out the curtain. I've never had to have the curtain brought out, but there's been several times where I'm fighting guys and they're over. I know they're over. And then they go back and take their underwear off, and now they lost a half pound magically. I'm not saying that balance scales or digital scales are more accurate, but at least that should be plastered on the screen for the whole world to see. So I know I made weight, so everybody knows he made weight. It's just silly. All week we weigh on digital scales, and then the last day, the most important day, we're weighing on a fucking scale from the 1930s. It doesn't make any sense.
What happened with the haircut? We saw you at media day, you turned into a different guy. Was that your call? Was that the plan all along, or were you forced to do that by the commission or anything?
No forced. I was going to get a haircut here anyway. In the past, I had done that. I would come to media day and I would look all scraggly, and then I would go get a haircut. And I think the UFC at first didn't really like it because they're like, hey, man, you dipshit, we spend a bunch of money on these promo photos, and then you come and look like a totally different guy and nobody knows who you are. But it's just kind of my gimmick now. It just feels better not to be all long and scraggly. But during training camp, I'm not paying attention to my appearance. I'm just getting to the gym. I'm going home. I'm playing with my kid. I'm going to the gym. I'm coming home. I'm playing with my kid. So there's not a lot of time for, looking good or anything. But fight week, my kid's not here. It's all about me. I'm trying to look good. I'm trying to feel good. I'm trying to have fun. And I got to do all those things this week.
Did you say in the cage this was the last fight on your contract, or the next one was?
I have one more left on my contract, but I'm ready to renegotiate right now.
Yeah, who do you think would make sense for you after this? You have the most fights in the history of this division now, I think, tied with Figueiredo.
I don't know, man. I don't really get to pick my fights. I usually just, Mick tells my manager who he wants me to fight, and then I go. Sometimes I feel like they try to give me guys that are going to beat me. I thought maybe Tagir, they wanted to beat me. I think that they wanted this guy to beat me. But those are the fights that I do the best in. When you back me in the corner and I'm supposed to lose, I shine. I rise to the level of my opponent, and I was lucky enough tonight that Kai Asakura is so good. He brought out the best Tim Elliott that there is. So I got to perform at my very, very peak because of the guy that was standing across the cage from me.
And, Kai came in with a lot of hype, former champion in another promotion. Now he's 0-2, 2 submission loss. I guess, what do you make of, now that you spent some time in there, a lot of fans are in there, they're saying, fraud check, coming over to the UFC, bright lights and everything. Just what do you make of Kai's in his career?
It sucks. It sucks for him. He's the next champ, but again, he's going to be fine. He's still got a lot more fight left in him. He's still a guy that could be UFC champion. I have no doubts in that. But he spent his whole career fighting in a square ring, not an octagon. It's totally different. I couldn't imagine making those adjustments in 2 fights. And I think it's going to take him 3 or 4 to settle in. And I think he's going to have a long career in the UFC. And, it happens. I've lost 2, 3 in a row, had to get fired, had to fight my way back, got to fight for a UFC world title. And I was older than him when I did it. So if I can do it, he can do it. And, it sounds like he's got a good support base, great coaches. He's a great guy, extra nice. I don't see any reasons why this will be his last UFC fight.
And, you said he could be a future champion. I know you said that's not in the forefront of your mind, but like these are 4 wins in your last 5. At what point do you start kind of looking at that top 5, top 7, and say like, hey, 2 more wins, I could be fighting for a title again?
It's definitely true. That's just not I'm doing what I want to do right now. I want to go in and fight, and of course I want to win. But really, the only downside of losing for me in the UFC is I get less money from my family. I'm winning even when I'm losing. I'm going and working with people that I love every day. I get to spend so much time with my kid. My daughter never had to go to a daycare or a babysitter. She was with me at the gym every day. I've never missed any milestones in her life, and that's because of the UFC. And the big reason why I want to win is so that I don't get fired, so that I can keep doing this. So, of course, I want to be the champion, but my legacy and my life and my career is going to be great, whether I'm the UFC champion or just a guy who was lucky enough to fight in the UFC for as long as I have.
And, you gave someone asked you and you gave some advice to the Ultimate Fighter finalists, and, it's your division. Did you get a chance to speak to any of the other new flyweights that are now kind of joining the division that you've been, as Mike said, more fights than anyone in the history of this promotion?
I haven't, but again, the advice stands strong. Early on in my career, I would go to these fight weeks and I would just kind of sit in a hotel and I would cut my weight and I would kind of be miserable and I would just focus on the fight. And then the older that I got, and then when I got fired by the UFC, I was looking back thinking like, man, I really missed the boat on enjoying the weeks when I'm out with my team and seeing the city and getting out of the hotel and signing autographs and taking pictures and feeling and being a professional athlete. And man, it's short-lived, and I want those guys to be able to do that. Don't go in your fight week and just sit in your hotel and not do shit. Get out there and have a good time, sign some autographs, take some pictures, smile. It's going to make your time a lot better and more memorable, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not wasting these moments, and even if I would have lost tonight, you'd still be seeing me with a smile on my face, walking around here with my head held high because I'm doing what I love to do, and nobody can take that away from me.
Yeah, in this fight, you're underdog and all that, doubted already, publicly and in the books and everything. You're still coming in winning these fights at 38 years old, right? And you've described yourself as not a martial artist, just a fighter. Did that mentality just kick in during that fight right now?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I was trying to martial arts competition Kai, he would have kicked my ass. He was martial artsing me, and I was fighting, and that's the difference. That's the only reason why I'm able to sustain. I'm not a martial artist. I'm a fighter at the end of the day, and I said this in the early media. Like if it wasn't in the UFC, it would be in somebody's backyard, or I would just be the old dude at the gym fighting guys in the gym because that's what I like to do. I'm just lucky enough to be one of the guys that gets paid to do it.
And coming up a 20-month layoff, man, was it just kind of like a relief just during that walk? Like, I finally made it. Weight's done. No one pulled out of the fight. No one fell out. I'm making my walk. Was it just like kind of a relief for you?
It is, man. Like I said, this is my favorite thing in the world to do, and that's 653 days that I was out was 653 sad days of me not being able to do what I love. It's fighting dogs want to fight, and even if they're hurt, even if they're tired, even if they're beat up, the worst thing for a fighting dog is not being able to fight. And a lot of people think that it's cruel or unfair to see fighting dogs fight, but fighting dogs live and breathe to fight, and that's what I want to do. And when I can't fight, then I feel like my life is not complete. So I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do when I retire because I'm just going to be a fighting dog with no fight left. So I'm not going to retire gracefully from the UFC. They're going to have to tell me, like, you got to go, man. So I'm going to be here until they make me go.
Tim, congrats on the victory. Joe Rogan said your fighting style looked like the Notre Dame logo. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, it's true. And in this fight, I had to make some adjustments. My coaches were saying, hey, man, lean back, go hips first. We had to fight a little hood in order for me not to get kneed in the face. But, man, he wrapped a leg kick around my head and flashed me. But, yeah, I'm good at getting hit in the face. If your game plan is you're going to one-punch knock me out, then I'm going to beat you. There's not a one-punch guy in the flyweight division that's going to do that. The best way to beat me is be a jiu-jitsu master, because if I have to go 15 minutes without making a mistake, chances are I'm probably going to make one. But if you're going to go out and try to one-shot knock me out, then I can fight that fight all day.
Appreciate the insight. Obviously, you're one of the flyweights you're one of the pioneers of this division. I'd like to know your take on the flyweight GOAT list. Can you give me your top 5?
Oh, man. It's probably Demetrius Johnson on all 5. No, I don't know. Demetrius Johnson, John Dotson, Pantoja has to be up there. I don't know, man. I don't think there's that many guys in the flyweight division that there's ever been that I couldn't beat. I mean, I'm a realist. I know, and I don't want to try to act like I'm the best or pretend that I'm the best, but I do know if I have a good night, I can beat the very best guy in the world. And that's all that matters to me. And as long as everybody else knows that, all I need is a chance.
Right here. How are you physically? I noticed you had a limp when you had walked in, and then you were also kind of playing with your jaw a little bit.
Yeah, jaw's a little sore. He hit me with a straight punch, but the leg kick, man, I think I don't know how many UFC fights I've had, but I've only been kicked in the leg like 3 times and almost never in the calf because I switched my stance so much. But my coaches told me to settle my feet, and my strikes started to land a little more, but Kai picked up on that right away and drilled me with a calf kick, and that's something I'm going to have to watch out for in the future. But honestly, I've been really lucky not to take a bunch of damage with kicks, and yeah, man, he stroked me with a calf kick. It hurt.
You called yourself a gatekeeper at Media Day, and you said that if you can't beat Tim Elliott in the flyweight division, you should not be allowed in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's fair. Like, I'm an old guy. I've been beat by several guys. I know the UFC wants guys that just want to be champion, but I think that's a fair spot for me. I don't mind being I've done it before. Brandon Royval, I was his first fight in, and he beat me. And now look at that guy. Like, I don't mind being that guy. I think everybody sees that as a bad thing, but I think that's a fair assessment. Like, I'm like the baseline. If you beat Tim Elliott, like, you're UFC ready. If you can't beat Tim Elliott, then maybe you're not quite there yet. And I'm all right with that. I'm a realist. I know that I could be beat by anybody in the division. I get subbed by women in the gym on a regular basis. That's just part of the game. If you do it enough, you're going to get beat. And again, I'm just lucky and blessed to be able to be in it this long. It's because I have a good management team. I've been blessed with good coaches. I have a great family. Everybody around me in my area supports me 100%, and it makes my job really, really easy.
You don't see that mindset often in MMA or in fighting in general. Do you think that your longevity plays a role into having that mentality?
Yeah, I think so, and I think also that's a reason why the UFC keeps me around. They know they can feed me to the wolves if they want. They know that I'll take a fight on short notice. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, I'm a company man. I'm happy to be the guy the UFC can count on. I'm not saying I'm always going to win, but I'm going to show up every fight week. I'm going to fight hard. I'm going to make fucking weight, and I'm going to make weight without a curtain or any kind of controversy. I'm going to be in media with a smile on my face. I'm going to have my head held high. I'm going to be polite to all the guys that work with me. I'm going to be polite to all my opponents, and it's just got nothing to do with fighting. That's just the guy that I am.
And then it was a long layoff before you had this fight here today. When's the next time we can expect you back in the octagon?
Honestly, I have a 45-day suspension, I think, according to my paperwork. But again, I'm getting older. Now's the time. I don't want to have a layoff because I didn't take any injuries in this fight. This is one of the first times I've came into a fight without being injured. Granted, I'm older and I'm having to really adjust how I train. I can't train as hard as I used to. I don't recover like I used to, but I'm making adjustments and I'm training smarter. I took a little time off from sparring right before this fight because I did a lot of sparring this camp, but I came in this fight feeling good, and man, by the time the fight happened and the time I walked in to get in the cage with Kai, or the octagon with Kai, I was ready to go. I was ready to fight. I didn't have any bumps or bruises or anything. I was just ready to go in there and get hit and throw some punches back.
And then just last thing from me, I got a text from my uncle right before this interview, and he said, "Tell Tim to never change."
Can't do it.
All good? Perfect.
Thank you, guys.